I've been testing this bike light out for the last 3 months, and I have to say that this is my favorite bike light ever. And no, I wasn't paid to say that, but Victogen did send this out for review to me, so there's that. Okay, on with it. I'll break this down into a few parts, but first we'll start with the unboxing. It comes in a cardboard box. Right here is the main light. Inside of the box in a box, there's these. So in total, there's the main light, the handlebar mount, a cable, and a backlight. Here's what we're all here for. This is the main light. It's hefty duty, has a quick connect adapter at the bottom, and 2 lighting systems built in at the front. At the bottom are the 2 main really bright LEDs with a bunch of different modes that we'll get into shortly. At the top is the floodlight, which is a weaker, less directional light that also has a few different modes, and we'll get into that as well. On to the backlight. To be honest, initially I didn't really use this all that much because I thought it was one of those cheap lights that you would get, I don't know, like the dollar store or something. I was wrong. It's actually pretty well constructed, and after I took it out of the box to start using it, I found a use pretty quickly. My partner didn't have a backlight, boop boop, right around the seat and you're good to go. There's just 3 modes on the back, which is this constant one, there's the flashy one, and then there's a different flashy one. And they're just the typical flat batteries that you would find at the dollar store or something. The CR2032 batteries. Like I mentioned earlier, I've had this for 3 months now, and you can tell because there are a few scuffs here and there. Now you know what you can expect after riding with it for a while, although these scuffs on the paint were actually caused from me riding around during the daylight with it in my pannier. Now let's check out the lighting modes on each of the 2 lights. You can control the main brightness light from the frontmost button, and you'll have 5 modes to choose from. There are 3 constant light modes. With 1 click, you get the brightest mode. 2 clicks, and you get medium mode, and 3 clicks, you get the dimmest solid mode. The other 2 modes are 2 takes on strobe modes. If you long press the first button, you get the mode that I use 90% of my time on my bike, which is what I'll call the random bloop mode, even though it's not random. Here's the actual strobe pattern for this one. Now onto the final mode. If you double click, you will get the craziest mode there is. 3, 2, 1. Yeah, it's pretty intense. Onto the second light. This is the floodlight, which is controlled by the back button. I honestly don't use it all that often, but it is nice to have for when you don't need something as powerful as the main light. This button also has 5 clicks to do 5 actions. If you click once, it actually doesn't do anything but turn on the display to check your battery's charge percentage, which I use regularly. This is super handy to have. 2 clicks and you'll get the brightest floodlight mode there is. 3 clicks gets you a medium to low light mode. 4 clicks gets you a solid red light, and 5 clicks gets you a pulsing red light mode. It's less of a strobe and more like a heartbeat. Both lights are on separate circuits from what I can tell, which is super handy because there's also a nice user-friendly feature built into the light's timing system, which makes it so that if you've clicked through to the mode that you want, if you wait about a minute or so, the next time you click that button, you probably want the light to turn off. So it takes that into account and doesn't change to the next mode, it just turns it off for you. My overall thoughts on these light modes are that they're awesome. I mean, there are some that are weird, like the red lighting, which is kind of useless when you have this mounted as a front light, but at least those are hidden down way on number 4 and 5 button clicks. And I guess if you needed a backlight, well, you have an emergency one? On the other side of things, the main light's functions are amazingly laid out because I can get to everything I need easily with 1 or 2 button presses. And having everything within 1 or 2 button presses removes friction from using the actual light as a light. Now on to the actual mount. When I agreed to do this light review, I honestly wasn't expecting much more than previous lights had offered, meaning the mount was just going to be a plastic good enough mount. So when I did the initial unboxing and saw that there was a rubber shim, I was pleasantly surprised. This combined with the easy twist on screw makes this the easiest light to mount that I've ever used. You can even have non-uniform handlebars and this will still mount properly. Plus, it doesn't move around because the rubber grips to the handlebars. A feature that I accidentally ran into is the icing on the cake. It's a swivel mount. On the previous lights that I've used, the mount went on one way, straight. So in those cases, if your light wasn't mounted directly straight, or your handlebars didn't allow for that, you'd be stuck with a light beam that wasn't centered. The final bit that I'm going to be covering is the battery. Honestly, I know that batteries are initially wonderful and have a very long lifespan, but eventually they get worse. But even after 3 months of consistent use, I've seen no reduction in the battery life so far, which does make sense because I believe this runs on 2 massive 18650 cells. That means there are somewhere between 4600 and 7200 milliamp hours of power inside this light. And those types of cells are rated for about 300 full charge cycles or so until they start to see degradation at all. A quick side note and a feature is the ability to use this light as a power bank in a pinch. Like if your phone runs out of power and you need to call for help, as long as you have a cable in your bag, you can plug right into your light and get a little bit of a trickle charge and then make that call that you really need. As for actual battery life, I'd say you get about 3 hours at full blast. But if you're using the blinky mode, then you'll get about double that, because your light's only on for half the time. All right, there you have it. A pretty solid lighting set for about $30. So if you are interested in getting this, I don't have a promo code for you. Sorry about that. But I do have an affiliate link, so you can go ahead into the description, click on that link. If you are gonna buy it, you might as well buy it. There's no extra cost for you. It's just a kickback for me from Victogen in this case. Now, if you don't wanna get this or spend any money at all, that's totally fine. You can support me with a few free things as well. Being liking, subscribing, and hitting the bell notification icon, because it really helps the YouTube algorithm, and commenting. I'd like to know what you want me to cover in the future. So there's that. Maybe any bike tips that you really can't live without, or any bike tech that you can't live without on the daily? All right, that's that. I hope you learned something, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye. I'm blind now. This is so bright.